Hey there everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorite Sega CD games, and that's Final Fight CD. The game was ported and published by Sega back in '93, and it does a great job of capturing the arcade feel of the original, unlike some of the other ports out there. So what exactly does that mean? Well, for starters, the two-player co-op that the arcade boasted is here in full effect, and oh my gosh, all three characters are selectable and all the stages are included. Add to that a brand new remastered soundtrack and a new mode, and you've got a recipe for an ass-kicking good time.
Has been ruled by violence and death.
One thing you'll notice right off the bat is that the opening is now fully dubbed with actual voice, and the results aren't that great. Well, maybe they are, it really just depends on your sense of humor. For whatever reason, the Cody and Guy section of the opening always cracks me up. I love how Guy draws a complete blank when Cody mentions Jessica, yet at the same time he's willing to risk his life to save her. What a good dude.
Jessica was kidnapped.
Jessica?
My sweetheart since childhood.
The Mad Gear must pay. She's my friend too. Count me in.
As much fun as this port is, there is always one thing that's kind of bugged me about it. In the arcade and even the Super Nintendo versions, you can attack as fast as you can press the button, which really helps you get out of a lot of tricky situations, especially when you're surrounded. In the Sega CD port, the attack button feels a little more lagged, even when rapidly pressing the button, and this can lead to having a harder time getting through certain sections. Luckily, you can still rely on good old tried and true Final Fight tactics to get through it, like spamming attacks while enemies are off screen, and of course, making efficient use of the plane to hammer large groups of enemies with weapons. Another thing worth noting is that the load times on Final Fight CD are kept to a minimum and aren't really noticeable at all while playing through it. The frame rate holds up really well even in the thick of the action with lots of bad guys swarming you too, which is pretty impressive considering the era it was released in. The bonus stages are here as well, so you'll get to bash cars into oblivion and break random glass panes in a warehouse, but that's far less fun than totaling a thug's car with a pipe. But I digress. At least they're both accounted for. The new mode I mentioned earlier is the Time Attack mode, which was exclusive to the Sega CD version at the time. It's basically exactly what it sounds like: beat up as many enemies as possible before the time runs out or you die. It's a fun little diversion, but nothing you'll play more than maybe once or twice at the most. Graphically, the game does look good, if not a tad washed out due to the Sega CD's limited color palette. Even still, it does look the part. The sound and music are outstanding, and it's easily my favorite version of the Final Fight soundtrack even to this day. And that's a bold statement too, considering how many variations of Final Fight have been released. All in all, Final Fight CD is a must-own game for the Sega CD, and really for anybody that's a fan of beat-em-ups in general. There really aren't that many two-player co-op Sega CD games out there either, so this one definitely helps to fill that void as well. As always, thanks for watching, commenting, and of course subscribing, and until next time, stay classic.